Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 27th of December. My name is Anuj and I will be taking today's session. In today's session, we will be covering 4 main news and 8 quick update and 1 personality in news. In main news, we will be covering about Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana as this scheme has completed 25 years. Then in the second main news, we will be covering about Niti Aayog report on good practices on gender parity at the workplace. In the third main news, we will be covering about that India have to have 100 villages to be tsunami ready. In the fourth main news, we will be covering about Pradhan Mantri Kausal Vikas Yojana as CAG has flagged gaps in this scheme. Then we will be briefly covering 8 quick updates, and in between we will be covering personality in news, that is Shaheed Udham Singh. So this is the brief of today's news that we will be covering in today's session. So let us discuss the first news for today. So what is the first news? The first news is that Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana has completed 25 years of its implementation. In this news, we will be learning about this scheme and what are the technological uses that have been recently made to improve its implementation. It is part of GS paper 3 where syllabus talks about infrastructure, that is including energy, ports, road, airport, railways and other infrastructures. So let us discuss this news. So first of all, the development, we have discussed that this scheme has completed 25 years. So basically it was launched on 25th of December in 2000. Now this year it has completed 25 years of implementation. Whenever there is a scheme which completes such a milestone yearly or with reference to numbers, then it becomes very important for your examination. So here it has given about its success, and its success is that around 95% of the project which was there in this have been completed. And what was the total length? Total length was around 8,25,000. So out of this total length of road, around 95% of the roads have been completed. Whenever you talks about road is the lifeline. In India, we mostly talk about national highways. But national highways constitute only about 2 to 3%. They are very important because they carry around 40% of Indian traffic. But the rural roads, which constitute around 70% of total Indian roads, are lifeline for the villages. They are known as Sadak se Simriddhi. Whenever you will be looking at the government talking about this scheme, they will be talking about Sadak se Samriddhi. What is the meaning of Samriddhi? It means prosperity. So whenever there will be roads, there will be better connectivity to the villages. They can contribute to the farm and the non-farm revenues. By farm revenues, I mean they can transport their farm products to the markets. And non-farm revenues so that they can go and engage in the employments outside their villages. So it become lifeline of the villages. Whenever you might have visited some places, you might have seen the board, something like this. On that, a road is drawn and it is written as Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So that road is under this scheme, and India, around 70% of roads are rural roads. But there is a contrast that around 2 to 3% of the roads are national highways, but they constitute around 40% of traffic. So this is a basic about roads in India. Now let us discuss about this scheme in detail. First of all, it is under Ministry of Rural Development. It is an important fact. It is under Ministry of Rural Development. When it was launched, the 100% fund was given by the central government. But in year 2016, the fund was divided 60% by the center and 40% by the state. That was the division made in the year 2016. So basically it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Then coming to its objective. Basically its objective is to provide all weather roads connectivity to eligible unconnected rural habitations. Okay, and it is a strategy to remove the poverty from the habitation. Here, please note down, the scheme does not talks about villages or the panchayat. It talks about habitation. So basic criteria to be qualified in this scheme to get the road connectivity is that a habitation should be in the plain area should be have more than 500 members, and in difficult terrain it should be more than 250 members, and in the areas which are affected by left wing extremism there is the criteria of 100 plus people. So basically please note down here that the criteria is not a village or panchayat, it is a habitation, and that habitation for plain is above 500, for northeast and difficult areas it is 250, and for left wing extremism areas it is above 100. So that is the basic criteria. And in 2016 there was a project under this, that was road connectivity project for the left wing extremism. So there are many ways to improve the condition in the areas which are affected by the left wing extremism. Connecting them and bringing the development is one of the most effective manner to remove this in these areas. So this is about this scheme where we have talked about its type, its ministry, its objective, its criteria, and there was a project that was launched in 2016. Now let us discuss further and to discuss about the phases of this scheme. Basically there were 4 phases and we are in the 4th phase. First, as we have already discussed, it was launched in 2000. Okay, and it was launched to establish foundation for universal rural access to remove poverty. That was the first phase. Then in 2013, phase 2 was introduced and it focused on consolidating the existing rural road networks. So basically under this scheme, a road must have a design life of 10 years. But we have seen mostly that the rural roads deteriorate at a fast pace. So that for that phase 2 was launched, and in this phase there was focus on consolidating the existing rural road network. Then in 2019 there was launch of phase 3, and in this phase there was more significance was given for the connectivity for various aspects such as hospitals, school. So this was done in the phase 3. Then in phase 4, which is from 2024 to 28, around 25,000 habitations are to be connected by the year 2028. So these are the phases of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Now we will see the various technological aspects which are being used for monitoring of this scheme. Why there is requirement of technological advancement or the technological usage for monitoring? Because there are many loopholes, such as 41% of the rural road are poorly maintained. For checking all these technological updates have been made. And what are there in them? First of all, digital monitoring and transparency. And how this can be done? Via online management, monitoring and accounting system. By this, government check the physical and the financial progress across the states. So basically they check is the money is sent at the place at the right time and its usage is done in a proper way. Okay, secondly, there is e-mark platform. Under this platform, government uses the geotagged photos from its mobile app to verify road maintenance work for payment and monitoring the contract performance. As the contracts are given to the various contractors, how they are performing and how they are building the roads is checked by these platforms. Then there is use of GPS enabled vehicles tracking system. So basically they check all the equipments, are they reaching at this place of usage and everything. And lastly, there is promotion of use of eco-friendly materials such as fly ash, slag, waste plastic, crumb rubber and other. So this is the application of advanced technologies in the rural road development. Okay, now let us discuss one PYQ which is related to this news. It is not directly related to this news. The PYQ is from 2020 and the question is, what are the main constraints in the transport and marketing of agriculture produce in India? So there are many constraints and one of the constraint in that is the poor availability of the roads in the rural areas. So in this you can write about Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and how it has improved the conditions of roads in the rural area. So this was all about the first news. Let us move to the next news. So the second news for today is that Niti Aayog has released a report on good practices on the gender parity at the workplace. And it is related to GS paper 1 where syllabus talks about issues related to women. In this news, we will be covering about various best practices which have been recommended by the Niti Aayog and all the example which have been given by the Niti Aayog. So let us discuss this news. First of all, the development. It has been released by the Niti Aayog along with the CII, that stand for the Confederation of Indian Industries, and the name of the report is From Intent to Impact. So basically the report talks about the development of the India, that is Viksit Bharat by 2047 and SDG 5 which is there for gender parity. So basically report is talking about the lack of women empowerment in the field of economics. Whenever we talks about women empowerment, basically we talk about three aspects: education, political and economic. By economy here, the report mentioned that the participation of women is not up to the mark. Although the labor force participation rate have been increased in the recent past, and according to government data, it is around 41%. It is an important fact that labor force participation of women is increasing and it has reached up to 41%. But we need to reach a further up to 50% or 100% so that we can achieve the target of Viksit Bharat. So now let us discuss what is given in this report. First of all, the report talks about the structural and the social barrier which are hindering the gender parity. Okay, there is a gender gap report and it is released by World Economic Forum. And it has categorized 148 countries and out of which India is standing at 131st place. That means when we talk about gender parity, that India is standing at 131 place out of 148 countries according to the gender gap report of World Economic Forum. And there are other data as well which support the gender pay gap such as World Bank. In 2024, it has said that For the same work, woman gets 77 cent and a man get around $1. So there is a gender gap of 33% according to the World Bank in year 2024. This is for total globe, not for India, and this rank is for India. This is according to World Economic Forum and this is according to World Bank. Whenever you will be writing your answer, you need to support your answer by such data and facts. And when you authenticate your data by such organizations such as World Economic Forum or World Bank, your answer become very specific. Now let us discuss the issues. First of all, entry barriers. What is entry barrier? There is a stereotype and companies do not encourage women so to get them at the entry level itself. That means they discard most of the women candidate. And it has been supported by a data. So Niti Aayog has said that in STEM, especially in social field and in the science and technological field, although 43% graduate are women, but on that only 27% women are going for the jobs. This is a paradox in India basically. Even if the education rate or literacy rate of women is higher, their participation in the labor force is not that higher. And that is due to various reasons. One of them is patriarchy, issues with the security and other factors that are given there. Then secondly, it talk about retention barriers. And in retention barrier, it mostly talk about maternity leave. So it has said that 75% of working women experience career setbacks after giving birth to a child. Around 75% of women, 3 out of 4 women, experience a setback due to childbirth. Okay. Thirdly, they talk about growth barrier, and that is due to women are often excluded from informal old boy club. Basically, here they are talking about glass ceiling. So there are a hierarchy on which only men are promoted. So this is growth barrier. Then they talks about systematic issue. That is, women perform 76% of unpaid care work. They are involved in household work. Even if a woman is working, she is expected to work at home. And men usually are not doing the unpaid work. And this report has said that around 76% of unpaid care work is done by women. So these are the structural and social barrier which are provided by this report. Now let us discuss the recommendation which are given in this report. First of all, they talk about promoting entry, that is hiring. So here they talk about using AI for selection of resume. They talk about removing the structural barrier that are present at the place of hiring. And they have supported it with an example. They have given example of Capgemini and Unilever, which uses AI tool for in job description to attract diverse talent. In one of the report of World Economic Forum, it has said a workforce which is diverse, that is 2 times more productive than the workforce which is not diverse. Okay, then it talk about enabling retention. Basically, retention issue was due to childbirth. So they are talking about inclusive parental leave, flexible work mode, and child care support. So the issue of retention which was there due to the childbirth, that can be removed by including parental leave, flexible work model, here it means work from home, then child care support. In the third recommendation, they talk about ensuring growth and progress. And how it can be done? It can be done by program like Propel Her and C Lead, which focus on coaching of women in negotiation and providing them extra input so that their growth can be more sustainable. Even in the recent labor codes, the labor codes has talked about reskilling, and even they have talked about 24 hours work shift. That means women can also work at the night with the permission. So that is given in the Indian labor codes, which are implemented recently. Now last, they have talked about building inclusive culture. And in this, they have given the example of Tech Mahindra, and it has said that in the Tech Mahindra, even in the boards, the women representation is there. So these are the recommendations which are given in this report. Now let us look at the various examples, global as well as Indian, which are cited in this report. First of all, the example is given for equal pay and legal protection. They have given example of many countries such as Iceland, and here they have talked about specifically about Germany and New Zealand. In Germany, they have said that there is a Wage Transparency Act which allows employees to request the salary data of the other member. Then there is example of New Zealand which talks about Equal Pay Amendment Act which ensure pay parity across sector. So these information can be used by you as an example. It won't be directly asked like what are the global and Indian best practices. But these best practices can be used by you in your mains answers. Then it has also given the example of shared care and parental leave. In this, they have given the example of Norway and Spain. In Norway, it enforces a father's quota of parental leave. Basically, they make responsible even the father to take care of a young child. Then there is an example of Spain which offer 16 weeks of parental leave to both the parents. Okay. Then flexible work and retention. It is for retention, and it has given the example of United Kingdom where they have the right for flexible hours. That means I can work from 8 to 11 or I can work from 2 to 5 based on my needs. Then they have also given the example of India, but in India they have given the example of specific companies like Tata and Accenture which run retentive program for women post childbirth. Basically, they give them training in the time period. What are the other advantage or the disadvantage that has happened in the company? They are given the training so that their progress is smooth. Then they talk about structural and institutional enablers. In this, they have talked about Denmark and France. In Denmark, they have talked about guaranteed universal subsidized child care, and similarly, there is in France which offer public crèche and tax incentives for the workplace child care. So such types of example can be written, and you can say that this can be implemented in India. But the major issue is tax to GDP ratio. In India is very low when we compare to the countries like Denmark and France. So there are some issues, but you can balance your answer and put forward your point by using these global best practices. So this was all about this news. Now let us discuss one PYQ which is related to this news. First of all, PYQ is from Prelims examination, and it is a direct question which is from 2017 Prelims examination, and question is, which of the following give the global gender gap index? We have discussed this, it is given by World Economic Forum. Then there is a mains question from 2014, and the question is, how does patriarchy impact the position of middle class working women in India? Here you can support your answers that women, most 75-6% of unpaid work is done by the women. There is issue of security in India. So such types of examples and data can be written in this answer. And obviously there is issue of patriarchy in Indian society. So this was all about this news. Let us discuss the next news for today. So the next news is about tsunami ready villages. And the development is that India to have 100 villages that would be tsunami ready. In this news, we will be briefly understanding about tsunami and this program and about UNESCO International Oceanographic Commission. That this will be the learning in this news, and it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about disaster and disaster management. Now let us discuss this news. First of all, the development. So under this, there will be development of 100 villages, but presently there are 24 coastal villages in Odisha that have been recognized as tsunami ready under the Tsunami Ready Recognition Program of UNESCO, and the verification is done by the National Tsunami Ready Recognition Board, that is NTRB. So basically there are 24 villages that are tsunami ready, and all that 24 villages are there in Odisha. And this recognition is given by National Tsunami Ready Recognition Board. Okay, now there will be development of 100 villages that would be spreaded around all the coastal state. Now what is the meaning of tsunami ready? So basically tsunami ready village is a certified one that have high awareness about tsunami, hazard preparedness and mapping, public display of evacuation map and 24-hour warning system. That is a basic requirement for a certification of tsunami ready village. Now let us understand what is the basic meaning of tsunami. Yesterday, 26th of December was the 21st anniversary of the very devastating tsunami which have taken place in India. In 2004, on 26th of December, there was tsunami in India. So it was one of the very powerful tsunami all across the world. And what is tsunami? Basically, tsunami means the harbor waves. And these waves are at up to height of 100 feet. And that comes with a force that can destroy a complete city. And how these are formed? Basically, there are many reasons for their formation, but they are mostly formed due to earthquake, volcano, or the landslide. When there is sudden release of energy at the ocean basin due to earthquake or landslide or tsunami, that push the water at the upward direction. But then there is a gravitational force as well that will pull the water towards the downward direction. And there will be the movement of these waves. This will be like this. At the ocean surface, it won't be look like a very large space, but when will it come to the coastal region, this height will get very high. Okay, the amplitude of this wave become very high and their impact will be very high. When the tsunami will be approaching, there will be sudden downfall of the water at the beaches. That is a warning. But their prediction become very difficult if we are not monitoring the water below the surface. This was about tsunami. Now, let us discuss about this program. So basically, what is UNESCO IOC Tsunami Ready Recognition Program? So basically, it is a certification given by the UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission. This is the certification. If it is asked that Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission is related to, it is related to UNESCO. Mostly we can think about that it is related to IMO. But Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission is related to UNESCO and it provides certification for UNESCO's IOC Tsunami Ready Recognition Program. Then about TRRP, that is Tsunami Ready Recognition Program. Basically, it is an international voluntary community based effort to bolster risk prevention of the tsunami. Basically, you have to remember that this program is there for community involvement and they can be ready for the tsunami. Then its implementing agency in India, We have discussed then when we were discussing the context, its implementing agency is National Tsunami Ready Recognition Board, that is under Ministry of Earth Sciences. So these are the details of this program. This can be asked in your prelims examination. Okay, so most of the important points about this program are given in this slide. Now, let us move further and discuss about the India's effort to tackle tsunami. First of all, when tsunami was there, struck India in 2004, there was formation of National Disaster Management Authority in 2005. This body is very important for your preparation of disaster. Okay, whenever you are writing exam, you have to write answers for the disaster. You can write about the guidelines given by the NDMA, and it was formed in 2005 after the tsunami which have occurred in India in 2004. Okay, so there is tsunami risk management guidelines which are given by the NDMA. Then there is Indian Tsunami Early Warning Center, which is there in Hyderabad, and it provides tsunami advisory not only to India but 25 Indian Ocean countries. So it provides tsunami advisories. Then there is use of technology, for example, use of bottom pressure recorders. When we were discussing tsunami, we have discussed that it is very important to know the energy which is there at the bottom of the ocean surfaces. Then there is satellite communication for tsunami warning. So these are the efforts which have been taken by the Indian government to tackle tsunami. Now let us discuss the UNESCO's body, that is Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission. It was established in 1960s. And what it is aim? Its aim is to promote international cooperation in the marine science to improve management of ocean, coast and marine resources. So most important point here is that this commission is under UNESCO, and it was established in 1960. Its aim is that it aims to promote international cooperation in marine sector to improve management of ocean, coast and marine resources. Then coming to its members, basically it have 152 members and India is one of the member. Okay, and it is charged of coordinating the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development from 2021 to 2030, the Ocean Decade. So basically this decade is the Ocean Decade, and this is charge of coordinating. So it has given with the charge of coordination. So this was about Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission. Now let us discuss one PYQ related to tsunami. So there was a mains question in year 2017, and the question was, in December 2004, tsunami brought a havoc on 14 countries including India. Discuss the factor responsible for the occurrence of tsunami and its effect on life and economy. In this light of guidelines of NDMA, describe the mechanism for preparedness to reduce the risk during such event. So basically this question is asking about occurrence of tsunamis, what is their effect and what are the guidelines given by the NDMA to prevent and mitigate the effect of tsunamis. So this was the question in 2017 mains examination. Now let us move to the next news. So the fourth news for today is about Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. In this news, we will be covering about this scheme, and it is there in news because CAG has flagged gap in this Yojana. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. Basically, it is related to employment. Okay, now let us discuss this news. First of all, the development. We have discussed the context. The development here is that the report evaluated the first 3 phases of this Yojana, that is from 2015 to 2022. We are in the fourth phase. But this report has audited the first three phases, that is from 2015 to 2022. And this scheme was launched in 2015. And they have highlighted a significant operational as well as the financial challenges. So before understanding about the challenges, now let us understand about this Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So basically it is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. This is the scheme which was launched in 2015 and it is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. That is the first fact about it. And what its objective? Its objective is to provide short-term training and upskilling as well as reskilling through recognition of prior learning to youth nationwide, including the rural areas. If you have visited some cities and you might have seen the Kaushal Vikas centers, there is a board and you might have seen in those centers there is provision of the skill and there is also reskilling for various jobs that can be taken by the youth. Basically this scheme is for skill development. And its achievement, it have achieved or it has trained around 1.6 crore youth since 2015, and out of which 45% are women. So these are the key facts which are related to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Now let us understand about the challenges which have been flagged by CAG. So the key highlight which have been highlighted by CAG audit report. First of all, they have talked about skill gap mismatch. So basically they are saying that training is not consistently aligned with the skill requirement. Training is provided for something and there is requirement of another thing. Suppose there is requirement in the plumbing industry in one area, but they are saying that the skill is provided for the healthcare. So that is the first issue which has been flagged by the CAG audit report. Secondly, they have talked about underutilization of fund. They have said that in the last phase, the state have not spent around 20% of the fund which was given by the center to the state. That is the second finding of the report. Then they talked about data integrity. They have said that around 95% of the candidates, the bank accounts and other details were not correct. Basically around 500 rupees are given as an incentives under this scheme for where that there is requirement of bank details. But they have said that around 95% of candidate information was not correct, which is a high number, for which government has given a response that we have directly transferred the money to their bank account by using the Aadhaar. So that was the answer given by the government. Then they have talked about technical qualification lapses. Under this scheme, there is a provision of prior technical education, and they have said that 85% of certified candidate possessed only a basic literacy. So there is mismatch for technical jobs and the candidate does not possess the technological qualification, and around 85% of the certified person have basic and literacy, which were not qualified for the technological jobs. Then there are other issues that as well, such as low placement rate. Even after getting certification from these centers, only 41% of the candidates are getting placed. That is the first issues. Then there is issue of duplicate records, like photographs are used at many places of the single individuals. Then they have talked about educational deficiencies at overall level. That means the education level of the student is not up to the mark which is required by the industries. Okay, so these are the other issues with the scheme. Now let us discuss as the key recommendations which are given by the report. First of all, they have talked about aligning the skill training. If there is requirement of X type of jobs, please, they are saying that there should be provision for training for that type of jobs only. Then they have talked about strengthening the scheme by process of preparation of envisaged national skill development plan. Basically, according to this plan, there will be the various sectors where there is requirement of jobs. So they are saying that this plan should be formed and prepared at a fast pace. Then they talked about strict enforcement of IT controls so that there should not be any issues with the data. Then they talked about strengthening the oversight mechanism. Basically, the monitoring should be strict so that there should not be no lapses and there should not be any issues of mismanagement. Then they talked about the expedition of mechanism for integration of unified district information system for education with this scheme. What is this unified district information system for education? Basically, it is under the Ministry of Education where there is a data of the education of the student, so that there will be the matching of the education qualification with the requirement of this job. So this was the recommendations which were given by the CAG. Now let us discuss PYQ, which is related to this news. So PYQ is direct, which is from 2018 prelims examination. The question is, with reference to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, consider the following statement. First, it is the flagship scheme of Ministry of Labour and Employment. This is a wrong statement. It is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Then it, among other things, will also impart training in soft skill, entrepreneurship, financial and digital literacy. It is a correct statement. Then it aims to align the competence of the unregulated workforce of the country to the national skill qualification framework. This is also an correct statement. So answer for this is C, 2 and 3 only. So with this, we have completed the main news for today. Now let us discuss the personality in news for today. So the personality in news for today is Shaheed Udham Singh. And what is the context? The context is that the 126th birth anniversary of Shaheed Udham Singh was celebrated on 26th December, that was yesterday. In this news, we will be discussing about Shaheed Udham Singh. So basically, he was born in Sangrur in Punjab. And he was a revolutionary freedom fighter who avenged the Jallianwala massacre by assassinating Michael O'Dwyer. He was the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab at the time of Jallianwala Bagh massacre. He is different from Reginald Dyer. He has given the order to shoot at the innocent people. He is different from Michael O'Dwyer. Michael O'Dwyer was the Lieutenant Governor at that time of the Punjab. Then he used the name Ram Muhammad Singh Azad. Basically, he used name from the three religion, and Azad is for communicating about his intention for independence. Then he was active member of the Gadar party as well as Hindustan Socialist Republic Association. If there is a question that he was an active member of Gadar and Hindustan Socialist Republic Association, that option will be correct. And what are the values which are visible from his information are patriotism, valor and secularism. These are the values. Okay, so this was all about Shaheed Udham Singh. With this, we have completed personality in news. Let us discuss the quick update for today. So the first quick update for today is Veer Bal Divas. And what is the context? So basically, Veer Bal Divas was observed on December 26th along with the distribution of Rashtriya Bal Puruskars. So in this news, we will be learning about these Puruskars as well as this Divas. So basically, this Divas is celebrated on December 26th since year 2022. So this Divas, that is Veer Bal Divas, is celebrated on 26th of December from 2022, and it is celebrated with, because we pay tribute to the younger son of the 10th Sikh Guru Govind Singh Ji. And they were Sahibzada Baba Joravar Singh and Sahibzada Baba Fateh Singh. Basically, they were captured by the Mughal army and sentenced to the death on the 26th of December. So this is the historical background of this Divas. Now coming to the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puruskar. Basically, these are national level awards which are conferred for exceptional achievement of children's, and here children's are from age 5 to 16 across the multiple field, that can be educational, that can be sports. So this was about Veer Bal Divas and the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puruskars. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about Ratan Mahal Sanctuary. Basically, there is spotting of tigers in this sanctuary, and this sanctuary is there in Gujarat. So the context is Gujarat has regained its status as tiger state after 33 years with the presence of tiger in the Ratan Mahal Wildlife Sanctuary. So this sanctuary is at the border of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. So there is the basic spotting of tigers here. With this, Gujarat has become only state which has 3 big cats, that is tiger, lion, Asiatic lion, and leopards. Let us quickly read about Ratan Mahal Wildlife Sanctuary. Its location, it is situated in Dahod district, central Gujarat, along with Gujarat Madhya Pradesh border. Secondly, this sanctuary harbors the maximum population of sloth bears. Sloth bears are very aggressive, okay, and they are often found hanging around the trees. Then, what are the other faunas which are present in this sanctuary? That are leopard, sloth bear, Nilgiri, four-horned antelopes. And what is its ecological significance? Basically, it form the forest for the catchment of river Panam, which is a major river in central Gujarat. It is not a major river overall in India. It is a minor river, but it is major for Gujarat. That is Panam river. Okay, so this was about the Ratna Mahal Wildlife Sanctuary. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about Colliery Control Amendment Rules of 2025. So this amendment is very specific. UPSC won't ask you directly, but you can support your answer where you will be writing about coal production and improvement in coal production in India. And what is the context? The context is that the government has notified Colliery Control Amendment Rules 2025 to enhance ease of doing business and make the coal sector more business friendly. So this is the context which can be written directly if there is a questions in the mains examination where the question is about improving the coal production in India. Now let us understand briefly about this amendment. So according to this amendment, the requirement of prior opening permission of opening a coal mine as well as opening of individual seam of section of seam from the coal control organization is dispensed. So basically, previously, if there is requirement of permission for opening of coal mine, or if a coal mine is closed for 180 days, there is requirement of permission from the coal control organization. Now this has been transferred to the board members of the companies. So this is the amendment, and this is applicable for the companies only. If if mining is done by not the companies, that have to take permission from the coal control organization itself. So this was about the amendment. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about nitrate contamination. And what is the context? The context is that over 20% of groundwater sample collected in Delhi in 2023 has nitrate level exceeding the permissible limit. And what is the permissible limit? It is 45 milligram per liter. There was a UPSC prelims question where they have asked about permission limit of mercury. Basically, there is no permissible limit for mercury. But for nitrate, there is a permissible limit of 45 mg per liter that have been found exceeding in 20% of the groundwater of Delhi. What will be the major source, or what are the major source for the nitrate? The major source are excess use of nitrogen based fertilizers and animal waste of the agriculture. So this waste is transferring into the ground and the water is contaminated. And what will be its impact? Will be health impact as well as the environmental impact. When we talked about health impact, there will be a disease which is known as blue baby syndrome in infant. And how does it occur? It occurs when nitrogens are there in excess amount, that means nitrates are there, they won't allow hemoglobin to carry the oxygen in the body. That will lead to the blue baby syndrome. And what will be its environmental impact? It will bloom the algal in the water bodies as they require nitrates for their growth. So this was about the nitrate contamination. Now let us discuss the next quick update. Next quick update is about Republic of Somaliland. In this news, we will be covering about the Somaliland. And what is the context? The context here is very important, that Israel has become the first country to formally recognize the self-declared Republic of Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. You know how a state is recognized? It is recognized by the other states. Okay, so Israel has become the first country to formally recognize the self-declared Republic of Somaliland. In this news, we will be learning about Somaliland. Basically, this area is Somaliland. And what are its neighboring countries? The neighboring countries are Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Somalia. These are its neighboring countries, and in maritime, it's Gulf of Aden. So these are the boundaries of the Somaliland. And it broke away from Somalia in 1991 after the collapse of central government and years of civil wars. So it has broken away from the Somalia, which is here, in 1991. And since then it is functioning as a de facto state with its own elected government. So this was about Somaliland. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about unclaimed financial asset. What is the context? The context here is that nearly 2000 crore unclaimed financial asset have been returned to the rightful owners under the Your Money, Your Right initiative, which was launched in year 2025 and it was launched in October. So basically, what is this unclaimed financial asset? So this is an asset which rises when money held with the financial institution, which may be bank, which may be insurance, mutual fund, or the pensions, is not claimed by the account holders or their legal heirs. And reason might be death, migration, or the other reasons. So basically, it is an unclaimed money which is there at the financial institutions such as banks, insurance companies, and the mutual fund companies. And what are the initiatives which was taken? They were digital portal for tracing unclaimed asset. Under this, there was Udham portal by RBI for unclaimed bank deposit. Then there was Bima Bharosa portal by IRDAI to trace unclaimed insurance policing proceeding. Then there was Mitra portal for mutual fund investment. So this was the unclaimed financial assets. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about Dulhasti Stage 2 project. And what is the context? The context is that Union Environment Ministry has given note to the 260 megawatt Dulhasti Stage 2 project on Chenab River in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is the context, and from the context we can infer that this project is there on the Chenab river. Okay, Chenab is formed in Himachal Pradesh by merging of two rivers, and it passes through Jammu and Kashmir where this project is there. Okay, and it will utilize the surplus water diverted from Marusudhar river, and it is the largest tributary of the Chenab river, on which there is a dam, and the name of the dam is Pakaldul Dam. So this is the information. Then there are other operational projects on Chenab as well. That is Dulhasti 1, Baglihar and Salal. And there are some projects which are there under construction. That is Ratle, Kiru and Kowar. So there can be some match of the type following question that can be asked, and on which there can be a project on the left side and name of the river on the right side. Okay, so that's, such types of question can come in your prelims examination. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about BIS standard for incense sticks, that is agarbatti. And what is the context? The context is that Union Minister for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has released the new Bureau of Indian Standard BIS standard IS 19412/2025 for agarbattis. This, all the data is not that important. Only the important information is that the BIS standard for agarbattis has been released. And what it is? So basically it is to enhance consumer safety and product quality, and it prohibits some of the products such as insecticidal chemicals, basically chemicals which can divert away or can kill the insecticides cannot be used in the agarbattis. Then they also talked about or banned synthetic fragrance intermediates. So they have banned two products, that is insecticides chemicals and synthetic fragrance intermediaries. So this was about this news. So with this we have completed the news today session for today. You can further read about our current affairs initiative on digital current affairs website, and you can solve various quizzes at that website. And please solve the question which are visible on your screen. Thank you. Have a nice day.